Good evening. We're here with Andrea Pallaoro, writer-director, Italian writer-director, living in Los Angeles. He's here in Tallinn with his film Hannah. And Hannah is a second film for Andrea. He started with, the previous one was Medeas. And Hannah is the second of a trilogy talking about the interior life and the struggle of a fantastic actress playing the main role, the title role, which is Charlotte Rampling. I would like to ask to Andrea what's experience with the film. We start from the life of the film before coming here, where the film premiere, and something about what does he feel about having such a prestigious prize that you're going to say about winning for his second film.
Well, thank you, Eleonora. I'm very, very excited to be here in Tallinn. This is my first time in Estonia. And tonight we'll be screening the film for the Tallinn audience. Yeah, as you said, we were very, very excited to win the award for Best Actress at the Venice Film Festival. And then we also won a few other awards after that in other festivals, like Best Cinematography in Chicago. That being said, I think that I should say that the screenplay was written for Charlotte Rampling, and I can't imagine a film without her. Like, I actually don't even think we would have ever made the film in the event she had not accepted the role. And working with her has been, you know, one of the most meaningful experiences of my life. You know, Charlotte has this way of delving into the character that she plays, committing to her truth with such an unwavering sense of search and again truth and generosity and courage, which are qualities that I admire tremendously.
And what about the script? How did you came to write something so personal, intimate, and really with an enormous sensibility about the character of a woman which is in a late year and lose everything in life? How did you relate to this story?
Of course. Well, I should say that I'm often very drawn to characters that are either marginalized or misunderstood by society, and I'm often I take my inspiration from stories that I observe, people that I observe around me, or stories that I read about, stories that come from real life. And this one came from something that I first read about in the news and then researched more in depth later. But the one thing that really fascinated me, and I feel like inspired me to delve into this one character, is one question that both scares me and fascinates me at the same time. And that question is, what happens after you share a life, you share an identity, you live with someone for 40, 50 years. What happens after you find out something that changes everything, that changes the way you can relate to this person? And you know, that is what is at the core of the film, but also at the core of the collaboration I had with all the creatives in the film.
Thank you. Andrea is Italian, but lives and works in Los Angeles, and where he also studied CalArt. And but the film is actually in French language. Can you explain a little bit how you ended up being a French film, being Italian, living in the United States?
Of course. Well, I should say that at first the film was written to be taking place in the United States in English. But then mainly actually for financial reasons. We made the decision to bring it to Belgium, and more specifically to Brussels. And that meant not only changing the language from English to French, but also readapting it to the society of Brussels. And I must say that it turned out to be a very appropriate location for this film, because Brussels has this quality of not just being a gray city, but also one in which alienation, the sense of alienation, is even more heightened. You know, because of the many languages that are spoken, because of the many different demographic groups that are represented in the city. And so I feel like it was the very appropriate choice to shoot there.
So the sense of alienation that we all live in the United States, but also in Europe, in this historical moment where there are so much discussion about what does it mean to be there for another. It's also felt, I felt it was also very present in the film. But what I find extraordinary is the depth on which you are capable of discovering the minutiae of life that they take you in this journey to understand what's in the soul of this woman, and the level of silence and disconnection that she's living in this moment. I find that heartbreaking. And when you will see the film, and I just want to say the film plays today at 6:30 at the Coca-Cola Center. And Hannah has been already coming to Tallinn with awards and with enormous sense of recognition by the international critics. But I really would like to have the public of Tallinn in Estonia to then have a feedback on how did they relate to this thing, because it's very human. Do you feel like, you know, from your answer, this is really common in this world? And but part of the question, and what I care more as a viewer of this film, is what is inside of us who really take us to some enormous pain without having the ability to go out and reach out. I mean, this is something that is very, very there in the film, and in a very unique way.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, from the very early on, from the very beginning, what my collaborators and I wanted to do was to, you know, get as internal, as introspective, as inside of the character as possible, you know, to photographs, to allow the audience to observe the character's thoughts, to actually photograph her internal world. And, you know, to do that, you know, I was lucky enough to have about 2.5 years of time from the moment I met Charlotte to the moment we start production. So we, in this long period of time, you know, we really had the opportunity to develop a relationship of trust and an intimacy that allowed us to take the necessary risks to discover, to explore together the character, and to inject you know, the experience of making the film with our own personal experiences of connecting with Hannah, but also of what we felt in life, you know, through the eyes of the character. And so it was just like one of those opportunities for us where, you know, working together allowed us to go further and further and further. And I'm very grateful to have had the partners I've had in this exploration.
And another creative force next to you is Orlando Tirado, which is a co-writer, and you guys worked together on the first film, Medeas, and then now in Hannah. So how does he play this? There's got to be some conflict in two personal, very, very personal vision, your vision. And how does he play in two persons, four hands writing about something so extremely personal who come across into the screen?
That's a very good question. We now, after all these years of working together, we have developed a very specific approach. And that is an approach that is mainly motivated by sensorial impulses. And, you know, we want our characters never to be imprisoned or suffocated by the storytelling or the narrative structure, but we want to create a platform so that it's the character, it's the observation of the character that leads us to that story. You know, we find it to be a much more organic and exciting and truthful approach, you know. And so once we identify a subject and a character that we want to follow and observe, what we do is that individually we start collecting images that we feel express and explore, you know, the feelings that we want to see on the big screen, that allows us to get to know the character better. But also images that are cathartic for us, you know. And so once we have accumulated a certain amount of these images, we start, we come together and we start juxtapose them on one onto the other and to sew them together. And from that union, new images are born. And that is one of the most exciting parts, actually, of this collaboration, you know, because it feels like a very organic process.
That's fantastic, and also very rare that the creative force is joined in such a wonderful and complementary way. There is a third force, of course, which is the cinematographer. The film has splendid images. So, the photography is something that is almost, you can almost feel like you're there, and yet you are all, you know, the excitement of seeing such a beautiful shot. It's like for any lover of pure cinema, it's a real treat. Who is your cinematographer?
Yes, my cinematographer is a very, very dear collaborator of mine. I worked with him on my first film, my first feature, now with Hannah, and we'll be continuing our collaboration with the next films to come as well. His name is Chase Irvin, and he's incredibly talented, and he's someone that I feel really complements, you know, the vision that Orlando and I create in the writing process. With Chase, you know, we try to develop a language that you know, can really articulate and create a very individual relationship with each spectator, one in which allows the spectator to project him or herself onto the character in the most independent and individual way possible. You know, we don't want to create a language in which we tell the spectator what to feel or what to think. We want them to have their own journey, very specific to who they are. And so it's a cinematic approach that is built on you know, the principle of often hiding certain informations or concealing certain informations to create a sense of anxiety and to excite the imagination of the spectator. You know, a little bit like you know, the photographs of Henri Cartier-Bresson, for example, you know, in which you know, what is outside of the frame or what is hidden is as important as what is inside the frame.
That's great, and that leads me to ask you, do you have inspiration from other filmmaker, author? Which kind of authors speak to you most? Because I would imagine that you are extremely unique in the way that your film are coming to the screening, to the screen. But I also can see some big master lurking in the narration and in the film.
Absolutely. Well, I should say that my inspiration comes from all different sources around us and all different art forms. But talking about more specifically about cinema, I do have many point of references. I think maybe one of the filmmakers and the masters that I look up to the most and in the most consistent way is, I think, Michelangelo Antonioni. But then the list goes on and on and on. Other filmmakers that have inspired me tremendously in the years are Chantal Akerman, Lucrezia Martel, Carlos Regadas, Tsai Ming Liang. They're all filmmakers that have been able to develop a very specific language to articulate their vision as honestly and as coherently as possible.
We're in Estonia, and there is some feel of the film that because we're here, I actually felt that it could have taken place here and anywhere where there are like this gray sky, this landscape which are so stridently open and gray with shadows, with lights. I wonder if you would have any interest in going to Estonia and explore a film that could take place here.
Absolutely. I would be thrilled to have the opportunity, for the right story and the right character. I hope, the future has this reserved for us, to have this experience. I would love to.
That's great. So I just want to remind again that the film plays today at 6:30 at the Coca-Cola Center. Hannah, Andrea Pallaoro.
And tomorrow also.
And tomorrow as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Eleonora, and thank you, everyone. Thank you.